The 2 rooms away rule is the rule that most alarms follow when spawning enemies. Don't be deceived though, even though that sentence sounds like a lot, they can be really far away or they can be really fucking close. When dealing with alarms, once you trigger them, you have to pay attention to 2 things. One being the global roar sound, that's an indication on where enemy spawns, and if you have any door closed, you'll be paying attention to which door they're breaking so you know in which direction they're coming. Because even if you hear them spawning on the left side, the game could spawn half and half and spawn 2 people on the left side and 6 people on the right side, so always pay attention to that, especially on the lower levels. It is often a good idea to rush the scans on the front, just like I did in the example. It's better to get those in front or near the entrances where the sleepers are gonna come from, since you don't wanna push into an entire wave of sleepers coming at you. It's easier to manage the wave while pulling back to your teammates than it is pushing into them. But Dragon, what happens when the holopath does the thingy where it just keeps going and going? Well, you just follow it. And if you have enemies in front of you, like really close, you just kill them and try to push as forward as possible. If you're funneling just like in the video now, you can easily have one guy defend while the other 3 are just rushing the scans. And if that person has too much to handle in the wave, then he can easily just go back to the teammates. Now on smaller rooms, when it comes to the travel time on the scan, if you already have a lot of enemies coming at you, then it's just better to kill everything than move to the front scans, get them out of the way, and then when the next wave spawns in, you can easily just deal with them. When it comes to saving ammo during an alarm, it boils down to your aiming and knowledge and mastery of that gun. If you have a ranged weapon like revolver for example, you can take a lot more risk and you can take pot shots at sleepers from a pretty decent range, unlike weapons like shotguns in which you really gotta keep your cool and wait for the sleepers to get near you, or approach a choke point and try to use the shotguns to its best and kinda ambush them on the doorways. Setting up is just as important as rushing the objective and your shooting skills. Those are mostly there to ease up the way for you or hold them if you need to. Here we have a burst sentry and a sniper sentry, but thankfully we saved all the consumables from the previous zones and we can use them for this alarm. We've put the burst sentry in that position since most of the scans go behind the bridge and the rest just goes to the top. The good thing about that burst sentry in that positioning is I can kill the crawlers and the fast Naruto runners trying to close the gap. Of course, there's many ways you can set up for multiple alarms in this game, so there's no way I can cover everything. So I'm gonna give you some examples. These images you see here, and you know, just pick and choose whatever you want. A little note about mines is that depending on the room layout and where they're coming from, you don't want to C4 and mine every single door. Even with the buff, mines have the potential to not kill, especially with enemy collision coming into place. So it's overall better to kill the wave with the last door in the room that which you're in and kill the straggler than having them break in the first door, kill almost everything, have the straggler break the next door by itself, trigger that mine, and by then the next wave's gonna spawn in and it's gonna push freely without any resistance whatsoever into the scan that you're doing. You can prolong the time the sleepers spend getting to you by funneling through open doors, forcing them to switch pathing. All sleepers take the easiest path to you, and since an open door counts as an easy entrance for them, they will go towards it instead of the nearest closed door. Please do know that this only applies when you have 2 rooms right next to each other. If there's an extra room between them, then they will ignore that and they will go to the door that's closest to you. If I'm gonna start talking about guns, we're gonna be here for half a fucking hour. It's not even touching about stats only. What? What the fuck is this? A general class loadout for every single level in this game? What? What a coincidence! Okay, but for real, if you wanna practice your aim, especially your shotgun aim, you can hug west side to go to the lockdown door. And if the game hates you enough, it's gonna put like every single enemy spawn in the game in there. And you can just have fun shooting at them, practicing your aim. B2 is another good level to practice your aim, especially with precision weapons like sniper, because you can get some lucky spawns with chickens spawning on the first room right after you spawn in. If you're by yourself and deal with a single giant, then you can hammer and break any limb that he has available, except if he has a hole in his chest. And you can use the 2x back damage multiplier to use less bullets killing him, saving you ammo in the process. The revolver is a powerful weapon, but there's a secret technique. Pass from rundown to rundown, they'll teach you. Aim at the left ass cheek and let the recoil fly like a bird. Your enemies will tremble with the left booty cheek technique. Ah shit, what the fuck? Alright, let's remove the memes and goofy music for a little bit and let's talk about one key important aspect of this game, and that is pressure. I can go out of my way and give you all the stats and strats in the world, but if you cannot handle yourself during alarms, then you will die regardless of how much info I pump into you. Gtfo is one of those games that require you to be like concentrated when doing these crescendo events like the alarms. And that's what makes people kind of rage at the beginning when they start playing, because let's say for example Left 4 Dead, you can just vash and shoot 2 shotgun shells in front of you and 3 to 4 people die. In Gtfo you shoot 2 to 3 times to kill 1 guy. So you know, you don't really feel as powerful, don't you? The fact that the gameplay in Gtfo is a lot more individualized and close quarters just increases the tension you get in fighting the sleepers, and that's by design. The gameplay in the background is a great example of how pressure can cloud your vision and your decision making. Getting tunnel vision in this game can waste you so many resources because you didn't pay attention to the one circle you didn't notice. Like for example, mistake number 1 here, I heard the wave coming in, it's respawning, so instead of rushing the scans that I had in front, I went from the one on the tunnel. Instead, what I should have done was finish the scans that I had in front, then go for the tunnel one, leave from the back side, there was a pipe, and go up the stairs and finish the scan. But because I went to the tunnel scan instead of holding the wave while doing those last 3 scans below the bridge, I got punished and got overwhelmed. If I only kept my cool for 5 seconds, I would have finished the alarm by the time I went up the stairs and get the last scan, which is funny. And talk about funny things, this is a great example of what I've talked about clouded vision and tunnel vision. Here I left the scan at 99%. My brain just assumed I finished the scan and I went below there to clear out the sleepers. Then it hit me that the scan was still at the top side. Of course, I'm emphasizing the mistakes I'm making so you can notice those during your gameplay sessions, so you don't repeat the same mistakes that I'm doing during this example. And yes, this is a solo, and the mistakes are more noticeable since I don't have teammates who compensate for them. Realistically, in a 4-man team, if you leave the scan, people will let you know that you left the scan. And if you're overwhelmed, they're usually there to cover you. Best thing that you can do while practicing this type of thing is recording yourself and looking what you've done wrong and what you could do better. Especially analyzing the key parts in which you actually panic a little bit. So next time you go into the scan, you will know where and when not to panic and how to and get a hold of the situation. I'm gonna let the rest of the clip play so you see how I'm fighting the rest of the wave. And I hope you enjoy this little talk about stress and pressure management, I guess. I'm a dingus and I forgot to put this one at the beginning of the video, my apologies, but if you have ever noticed, every time you're killing sleepers, you'll notice some of the sleepers just hanging in the back, just like sidestepping, being no scared. Well, that mechanic is called Intimidation. It triggers when you are within 10 to 12 meters. You have to be looking at them, but it's pure RNG depending if that happens or not. You can kinda use this to your advantage once you get some distance between you and the sleepers, so you can get a cheeky reload here and there, but don't depend too much on it due to the RNG base. And thank you for watching. I think I've covered every single aspect about holding an alarm and mechanic, I think. So if I missed something, you can probably let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.